Welcome to the live. Welcome and happy Wednesday to you. I can't believe it's already Wednesday, right? It's already Wednesday, and here we are. Welcome to the live. Welcome. Happy Wednesday to you wherever you are. Happy Wednesday to you wherever you are. Today we're going to be going deep into the anatomy of an empath. Who's an empath? What makes an empath? Welcome in. Come on in. Welcome. Today we're talking about the anatomy of an empath. Who's an empath? What makes an empath? How does an empath become? What's the purpose of an empath? The anatomy of an empath. Welcome in. This is what we're going to be focused on today. The anatomy of an empath. Who an empath is, where an empath comes from, the purpose of an empath, the whole work. So come on in. Happy Wednesday wherever you are. I am your resident presenter for the day, Nana at Inner Mileage. Welcome in. Today we're talking about a full expose on the anatomy of an empath, particularly an empath compared to a narcissist, right? So we often hear about all the bad things about a narcissist. We're not spending time on that today. We're really focused on who an empath is, where an empath comes from, how an empath came to be, what the purposes of an empath is, how to really confirm for yourself if you are indeed an empath, and nobody can confirm that for you. Only you know. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. What this whole business about being an empath is. So the ultimate expert on the empath, who the empath is, the anatomy of an empath, the intelligence of an empath, the spirit of an empath. Who's an empath? Just providing some deeper understanding to this topic that has become very, very mainstream these days. Greetings. Well, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, grand rising, wherever you are. Wherever you are, come on in. So let's get started. Right? I'm going to get started here. So, first of all, it's important to realize that an empath is not simply born, an empath is forged, created. And the essence of the empath is cultivated through a combination of genetics, trauma, and spiritual selection, as well as cosmic purpose. Let me say that again. The essence of an empath is cultivated through a combination of genetics, trauma, spiritual selection, and cosmic purposes. And for those who are just joining, we're talking about the anatomy of an empath, who an empath is, just going deep here. So unlike other people, empaths do not operate on autopilot. The existence of an empath is not mechanical, nor is it dictated by social programming. Instead, the empath functions as consciousness accelerators, as an energetic alchemist, and a guardian of human evolution. But the key question is, where does an empath come from? What makes an empath different? And why are empaths fundamentally opposed or juxtaposed to narcissists? So, for my research and from my experience, the four forces that create an empath are as follows. There are genetic factors, there's trauma factors, there's spiritual factors, and there's a cosmic factor. Let me start with the genetic factor. So, science has shown that empathy has a biological basis, right? Empathy has a biological basis. The OXTR gene, which controls oxytocin receptors in the mind, has been linked to high levels of emotional intelligence. And an empath creates more oxytocin in your body. And the oxytocin is the bonding gene. It's a gene that enables you to bond with other people. That empaths have, from a biological perspective, empaths have more of this OXTR gene. Hey, Ellie. Hey, patients. Greetings. I'm glad you joined from Belgium. I heard there was a UFO or UPA seen over Belgium recently, patients. Is that true? Let us know, right? So from a genetic perspective, we realize that many empaths come from a lineage of intuitive, sensitive, and spiritually aware ancestors, even if those ancestors repress their abilities. In my case, my grandfather, right? My grandfather was a powerful empath. People came to him for advice. He was a big cocoa farmer and all that. And my father was also very empathetic, very spiritual, even became a Freemason, was Muslim, became Christian, but lost his way because I think it was induced by the trauma he experienced, and he became a narcissist, right? a covert one, sometimes with malignant tendencies. And then there was me, the scapegoat. I came from that lineage, right? So from a grandfather, great empathy, father who had it, who lost his way and told me I was going to be a failure because he could tell I was next in line. So some lineages produce both narcissists and empaths in the same family, often due to ancestral trauma. So Bex, you're asking, what about empaths with disorganized attachment with their family? What do you mean? Tell me more about this disorganized attachment. If you want to speak, just invite yourself and I invite you to talk. Now, the second factor is the trauma factor, which is about the phoenix rising from the ashes. So many empaths, me and you included, have endured early childhood trauma, neglect or abuse, which activated your ability to read micro signals, anticipate threats, and hyper attune to the emotions of others. This is on top of the biological reason I gave you a few minutes ago. So instead of shutting down emotionally as a narcissist would, the empath develops hyper awareness as a survival mechanism. This is why empaths have an instinctual ability to detect deception, danger, and unspoken emotions because their nervous system is adapted for survival. Then there's the spiritual factor, because some empaths are born from previous incarnations of spiritual mastery. And empaths arrive in this world with an encoded mission already vibrating at a different frequency. Proof, the work of Dolores Cannon gives us this information, as well as work of Bashar, the Inner Standing, and others, right? That esoteric traditions teach us that empaths are old souls who have accumulated lifetimes of wisdom. How do you know you've accumulated lifetimes of wisdom? Because you have the breath, not the body. You have the breath, not the mind, right? Your energy, the breath. So unlike narcissists who are trapped in ego-based reincarnation cycles dropping down each time, empaths reincarnate by choice, not by karmic debt. And this leads us to the fourth factor that makes empath, which is the cosmic selection factor, right? There is this esoteric belief that certain souls are recruited by higher intelligences. And we know there's evidence of higher intelligence because recently we all know about the orbs and everything like, yes, Tresha, what are you saying, right? Hey, Ellie. So you know that this happens, that there are higher intelligences in these multi-universes all over the place. So we came from somewhere. And empaths therefore function as cosmic disruptors meant to expose illusions, transmute darkness, hey Breezy, and act as living portals to higher dimensions of awareness. This is why the empath cannot live in falsehood, because the very nature of an empath rejects deception. So now let's talk about the intelligence of an empath. And I have a different video on this. An empath's intelligence is multidimensional because it integrates neuroscience, emotional acuity, ancient wisdom, and quantum cognition. You may be thinking, what do these terms mean? I don't know if yes, you do. Because scientific research confirms that empaths have a unique neural structure, making them advanced processors of human energy. What's the proof? The mirror neuron system in the brain is hyperactive. This is how we're able to mirror emotions. And in empaths, this mirror neuron system is far more developed compared to a narcissist, which enables the empath to deeply feel what others feel without having to know. Then there's the vagus nerve connection. If you're familiar with the vagus nerve, empaths have highly active vagus nerves, which control the gut-brain axis and the heart's electromagnetic field, right? This means that the empath is physically connected to deep emotions, not only in their mind, but in their body, right? And empaths have advanced pattern recognition. You see, studies show that the empath uses more areas of the temporal lobe when detecting facial expressions and nonverbal cues, making them very acute to sensing other people's intentions before they act. Does any of this resonate with you? I mean, tell me if I'm making this up or if it's resonating with you. So I know, right? How is this dropping in your field, right? So now let's go into the spirit of an empath. Empaths do not merely exist. The empath, I'm glad, thank you, Bex. Thank you. Yes, yes. An empath is a HSP. Thank you, Breezy. The empath is a HSP, Bex. Exactly right. And I want to know more about this dysfunctional dynamic you mentioned, Bex, if you want to talk about it a little bit. But let me be clear from a spiritual perspective, the empath, thank you. The empath is, thank you, Breezy. Thank you, Chastity. Did I say correctly? So the empath is an energetic transmuter, alchemizing pain into wisdom, fear into courage, and chaos into order. What is the evidence from a spiritual perspective? Well, in Buddhism, there's something known as the Bodhisattva path. So the Bodhisattva archetype is a being who has reached enlightenment but chooses to reincarnate to uplift others. That's the Tibetan Buddhist perspective. Then in Hermeticism, from ancient Egypt or Hermetic philosophy, there's this notion that empaths align with the principle of vibration, meaning that the empath can raise or lower frequency of any environment. Which is why when you go into a room, people look at you or stare at you or pretend like you're not there, or you feel energies focusing on you, even if they're not looking at you when you enter a room. It's because of what's in you. And then from a Christian perspective, there's this notion of Christ consciousness, because empaths operate from the level of the heart, which is why empaths, even if they're not nice, are kind. And operating from the level of the heart mirrors Christ's ability to transcend the illusions of power and ego, right? So, why do empaths trigger jealousy in narcissists, right? Why does this happen? Well, the reason why we trigger jealousy in narcissists and this obsession is because empaths possess what the narcissist cannot create, steal, or fake. Let me say that again. Empaths possess what narcissists cannot create, steal, or fake. And what is this? Authenticity. What the narcissist lives in illusions while the empath embodies truth, something that the narcissist wants but cannot do. Second is deep emotional depth. The narcissist mimics emotions but lacks emotional depth, because you know how a narcissist becomes. They lack it. This is why they're jealous of an empath. Then spiritual connection. Empaths access divine wisdom, whereas narcissists feel cut off because they are connected to this Jezebelian spirit, the dark energies, permanently. That's why they live in this place of hell. Then magnetism. Empaths draw people in naturally, whereas narcissists must manipulate people into liking them. So an empath can go to an empty space, and within 5 minutes, the place gets crowded because people are responding to the energy. You might be in an aisle in a grocery store which is empty, and all of a sudden that aisle is full. Or you might be shopping in a particular produce section, just you with nobody around you. All of a sudden, there's 3 people around you close to you. It's the energy in you that causes that. And you realize that the narcissists do not just want your love, they want the essence of your soul. They want the essence of your soul. They want everything you have. This is why they do what they do. So I'm sure you have, Breezy Bay. So what is the ultimate purpose of an empath? And by the way, anybody who wants to ask questions or talk or share, just let me know and I'll invite you, or I can invite randomly. Empaths, I should clarify that despite the trauma we've all been through, are not here to suffer, because we're here to shift the paradigm. See, the mission of an empath is to, one, hey, Don Marie, to expose deception and darkness, to break generational curses and generational cycles, to heal others with your very presence because you're a vessel, and to act as a catalyst for collective consciousness, what is often referred to as this chosen one, 144,000 person awakening. We know the 144,000 number is about morphic resonance, and it represents the same junk DNA. Thank you, Don Marie. So this is what it is, right? This is why. So we realize that an awakened empath is prophecy, whereas the unhealed, unawakened empath is prey. And we empaths are rising everywhere around the world, and we are shifting the world because the war for consciousness is real. And as we awaken and arise, we help reach this tipping point of morphic resonance where more people are. And look around you, it's happening, even though it's not documented. It is happening. So I'm curious, what has happened to you? How are you feeling? You know, what has been your experience with empathy? and narcissism. What questions do you have, Ellie? What did you wonder about, Ellie? Right? What happened to you? Right? Treasure Star, it's always a pleasure to see you. God bless always. You understand? Yeah, this is the information. Hi Bex, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I am well. So thank you for accepting this and tell us what happened to you.
So, I'm actually a trauma counselor.
Yep.
But I have also experienced trauma in my past, which is probably why I wanted to be a trauma counselor. But I always found it very interesting that while I am extremely empathetic to others, I am very closed off to intolerance. And I am wondering how much of disorganized attachment affects my ability to be a true empath.
So can I ask you a couple of questions? This will be predictable, but so first of all, you being a trauma counselor means you're already embodying your mission, right? It's just really powerful. But tell me a bit about your attachments from as long as you can remember. What was it like in your family?
My family is very, well, this is the way that my brother actually put it, that our family is not necessarily like a normal nucleus. We are very much electrons. So we're harnessed together, but we kind of orbit around each other. We keep space very distant. And, it's very stoic.
Yeah, very stoic. You know, even without going into details, it just tells me that either one or both of your parents were very avoidant and unavailable, and perhaps unpredictable in the way they showed up. Warmly at one point, and then distant at another point. Am I making this up?
Bex? Oh, absolutely. You're nailing it.
Now, I have to ask you another question, Bex. What has been your experience, your own experience with intimate relationships?
It's honestly like an ongoing relation. I am married,
yes,
but I've always had struggles with merging into his family because I personally just get very confused when someone says, "You'll love them, they're family." I'm also adopted.
Oh. Okay. I got it. I got this. I got it, Bex. I got it. Thank you so much for being so open and vulnerable. May I share what is coming up for me as I'm listening to you?
Absolutely.
You've never known unconditional love. You have never known unconditional love from anyone. Yet, you have offered unconditional love to many, even if.
Yes.
And as a result of this, you've learned and internalized that loving others and receiving love might be unsafe unless it's managed through a filter. Am I just making this up, Bex?
No, this is.
and that filter creates a block in your heart. You see, the filter works when you are in the mind. And when you're in the mind, you're still rooted in the ego, which is related to your personalization of trauma. When you are in a somatic place in the heart, where you allow yourself to feel, you're able to free yourself from this dissociation with conditional love. And it's to realize that you yourself are worthy of love and you deserve it.
My husband has taught me that. He's trying to increase my definition of love, which I need and deserve.
Yes.
I fully agree. The one thing is my mom and I actually have done counseling and we have bridged some of that gap.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not going to happen with the rest of my family because they don't believe in therapy.
Do you know why?
Why?
Because you're the black sheep of your family.
Yes.
Look at me, Bex. I can't see, but look at me. You can see me on your screen. You are the black sheep of your family. You're the first person in your family. Yeah, they so-called hippy dippy shit. You're the one who's saving the bloodline by saving yourself. Don't you see why you became a counselor? You became a counselor to help people from dissociating. Because when people are dissociated, they live in fear. When people are in fear, they're controllable by internal and external factors. Look around you. Look at the news. You see, trauma is at a societal level. The society is a collection of individual families who receive the same programming and therefore propagate that programming at the familial individual level. Don't you see the whole game?
Yeah.
What are you thinking and feeling right now, Bex?
Well, one, I only have 9 minutes left because I have to hop on.
Yes.
But I just do find this interesting because my view of parents has shifted like so much because, well, I do want kids. There is such an immense responsibility being a parent. It is so immense. It's beautiful. I just don't know if I have the capability.
Yes, you do. Look at me, Bex. You see what I just did there? I did something non-traditional. The reason why you're afraid of extending the bloodline is because of the depth of the polite trauma you went through. See the word I use, polite trauma?
Yeah.
So this lives as an ancestral imprint in your subconscious mind. And the only way to free yourself, your husband, it sounds like a wonderful empath, but he can't do it for you. The only way to realize it is that you grew up in oppression. Did you hear the word I used, Bex?
Can you say that again?
You grew up in oppression.
Yeah.
I'm going to use the word again. Oppression.
Yeah.
Polite oppression. Laurie, literally. This is how you grew up, Bex.
Yeah.
And you were scared you would extend it, but you've already ended that cycle by being a trauma counselor, a therapist. You've already ended that cycle. But you cannot ascend to the full embodiment of your gift because you have a gift as a healer as well, a spiritual healer. I can feel it in my bones. You cannot ascend to that until you release all your fear.
That's what I've been working on.
There's nothing to work on. You just have to decide to drop it or not. It's as simple as that. There's no future.
Actually, that's how I dropped most of it. So I'm just like, when's the next shift?
It just happened, Bex. It's happening right now. You're doing it right now. Because you are allowing yourself to be a student, even though you're a master too. This is this is called the beginner's mind in Buddhism, the beginner's mind.
Yes, exactly.
But you know why this feels difficult?
Why?
Because this is the innermost part of your trauma. You've peeled the onions over and over again, and you're now at the deepest, most calcified level. This is the game.
It does feel like a game.
Of course it's a video game. What do you think this is? It's all a simulation. You know this, Bex. It's a simulation that we make real with our conscious minds or our subconscious minds. And most of us make it real with our subconscious minds, which are filled with energetic programs. We are not programmers, we are programmed. And you have to reject the program of dissociation.
Yes.
And you do that by practicing vulnerability with the most loved person in your life, your husband. That's where it starts. And not the kind of vulnerability that says, do it for me. It's like, I'm allowing myself to be here with you. Mm-hmm. And the moment you start to practice that vulnerability with yourself, you can practice it with him. And that's it. You don't have to practice this or convince your family. They caused this. And which of them get psychically rearranged because of your work get rearranged. But the only person you're here to save is you. And as you save yourself from this dissociation, you become an even more powerful healer than you already are. Don't you see the game?
Thank you very much.
Oh, Bex, my pleasure. Before you go, what are your final words? Your parting words before you go.
Well, my final words are something that I always share with anyone that is interested in counseling but doesn't think they need it.
Yeah.
Not everyone needs it, but everyone can benefit from it.
True. You well said. You said it. And I'm sending you good energy. And the next person you're talking to will be a beneficiary of your renewed paradigm shift.
Thank you.
And that's going to happen in 4 minutes, Bex.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to sign off so I can hop on the next call.
I'm so glad.
It was wonderful talking to you.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Come back anytime and keep in touch if I can be of help.
Absolutely.
All right. Peace. You see, this kind of polite trauma that they put us through, this polite trauma. So you don't even think it's trauma, right? Treasure Star, right? Food for the soul. Ellie, what people are attracted to me energetic. I get it. Elena, how are you?
Fine. How about yourself?
I'm great. Tell us what happened to you. What's your story?
Well, I married a narcissist or whatever.
Oh, you're breaking up a little bit. You're breaking up, Elena. You're breaking up. Can't hear you. Elena, are you there? Oh, it's better now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, much better. Keep going.
Oh.
Keep going, Elena.
Okay.
You married a narcissist, yes?
Let me set you up here.
All right.
Okay. I married a narcissist. I'm still in the stage of getting through that because I have a daughter with him. But my question is the energies. If we're just to talk about energies, of that kind of energy, I keep finding struggle with dealing in situations where, like with my narc, I had to accept it. I had to let go that I never was going to be able to prove it. I had to walk in the path of shame while everybody believes the story. I have attracted situations where it's repeating that same similar tone, and I will get revealed to me intuitively that what I'm seeing is correct. But in the real reality, I keep experience where everybody keeps I keep having these experiences where my van got hit, nothing gets done about it. I had an issue with my doctor at the principal's office. They talk to me, and I'm just trying to help my daughter. Her not being seen. Learn to let go of that, but I struggle with that pain inside. How do I get past that? Like, what's really going on? Because
Simple.
I'm repeating it,
Simple.
what's really going on?
Simple.
Because I feel like that's a common issue when you're dealing with narcissists.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Do you want to hear it?
Do
Do you want to hear it? Can you hear me?
Yes, I do. Yep,
Okay.
I'm ready.
So the first thing to realize is that
Yep, I can hear you.
good. All relationships are mirrors. Let me say that again. All relationships, even the one you just have for 5 seconds, is a mirror. The dynamic in the relationship is revealing to you where you are, exactly, Dora Marie, where you are subconsciously and unconsciously. So let me ask you this, Elena. What have these recent events you've experienced revealed to you about where you are? Hi, Wendy. Greetings from Seattle to you. What does it reveal to you about your internal state?
I'm not seeing myself then.
What else?
I'm not seeing myself. I'm not hearing myself. I'm not.
Let me ask you this.
That's what it would be.
Let me ask you this. How would you describe the common theme amongst the behaviors and how people have treated you recently?
Dismissive.
Yeah. Do you know why?
Why?
Because you dismiss yourself. You don't think you're worthy. So all you're doing is just reflecting your internal state to you. Do you think you're a worthy person? Do you feel worthy?
I don't feel worthy when I keep having these things. I think it's broken my spirit.
Exactly.
It's broken my spirit.
Exactly. It's a program.
I have a very strong spirit, but I'm at my point.
It's a program.
Yes.
How did your parents treat you as a girl growing up? When you had a point of view, something to share, did they listen?
My dad, verbal abusive. My father was verbal, and my mom wasn't there, but now she is in my life, and she's a good mom, but she has narcissistic characteristics as well.
Oh, don't you see what? Don't you see what has happened, Elena? Don't you see what has happened?
No, I don't.
So your father was the original programmer who taught you that your point of view, your words don't matter. And you've been replaying that in your relationships, intimate and transactional. This is what you've been doing. That you believe that trauma, and now when people repeat it to you, you don't like it anymore because you've come to the end of that cycle, because you're beginning to find your worth, which is why that behavior doesn't resonate anymore. Because you realize that it is you subconsciously who put yourself in those positions for those people to treat you that way. Don't you see? Because you know you will be dismissed, you have a reactionary to jump up and speak your mind, or even to be rude to protect yourself. Then the people are rude to you, and then you wonder why you're getting this attitude, because you're already afraid to have your value heard, to take up space, because you're not worthy.
Well, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid anymore. I speak up, but I no longer speak anymore because it's like dealing with programs.
But the point I'm making is that what I'm making is that you were speaking out from a place of, you're going to listen to me. You're going to listen, which is different from, I'm a person of value, and here's my point of view. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What are you realizing? Yeah. What are you realizing, Elena?
I'm realizing that I am valuable. That's what I'm realizing. And I am very strong, and I'm very intuitive.
So what are you realizing about why some of these dynamics have continued?
Because I wasn't honoring my truth myself.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
I wasn't honoring my truth and myself.
I please say that a little louder so I can hear you in the back.
I wasn't honoring my truth.
I can't hear you.
My value.
Louder.
I wasn't honoring my truth, my value, myself. Yes.
Do you hear what the silence is saying?
Yes.
What is the silence saying?
I'm here. That is what it is.
Woo! Say that again, please.
I'm here.
And?
It is what it is.
One more time, please.
I'm here, and it is what it is.
This is how powerful we are. We are gods and don't even realize that the divine lives in us. Look at what you've just done, Elena. Mm-hmm. Look at what you've just realized in 5 minutes.
Yes.
What are you walking away with? What are your parting words before you go?
Hang in there. Don't lose your light. Keep on trucking regardless. It's nice to have these spaces to come to or to listen to remind you of how far we have all come.
Oh, you're inspirational, Elena. That is the real you. That what you just said, that is you. Not the fighting, argumentative one. No. This is the real you. Certain and confident. And guess what? Can I tell you a secret?
Yes.
I am you.
I know that. That's why I see you.
Oh. You have a beautiful spirit, and I'm sending you loveful vibes and strength. And may your light continue to shine you. May you release this doubt about not being unworthy. It will take some time, but now that you know the secret, this curse doesn't work anymore. Be free, Elena. Be free.
Yes, I will. You do the same and keep sharing your knowledge.
Oh, one love and shine your light. I appreciate you very much. Yes.
All right. Have a good flowing Monday.
And you take care. You see, We are amazing, Ellie. DJ, we are Space Indigo, Smokey Bear, San Antonio. This is who we are. Yusuf Follies, I'll dance before we wrap up, I promise. Wendy, my parents normalized abuse for me, and I broke the cycle when I left Seattle and came to. Wow. Do you want to tell us more about that, Wendy? Do you want to talk about it? I want to hear from you, or whoever wants to talk. Right? Whatever questions you have, I want to hear it. Right? This is what we're here for, to shine the light on the power that's within us. You have the power to be the angel or the demon in your life based on your programming. And this is why we get programmed so much, Dawn Marie. You see, this is the whole thing. So, wow, Elena, that was inspiring and troubling, right? And oh, Jenny, okay, let's get you in, Jenny. Come on in, Jenny. I missed your question. You asked the question about what polite trauma is, and I'll answer that question. But let's see if we can get Jenny in here. Hey,
hello.
Hi, Jenny. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm well. So tell us, what happened to you?
Well, boy, where do I begin? My mom was raped by her father, and he groomed her starting at the age of like 6 or 7. Her mother turned a blind eye, so it went from abuse to rape. My mom allowed my grandfather and I to be under the same roof. My mom became super hyper religious and really just wasn't there for me as a child. So I had to kind of just raise myself, protect myself. So I became hyper vigilant very early on, and then became a police officer because I didn't want to be a victim and I wanted to protect victims. I still struggle with feeling guilt of the way that I feel about my mom and completely removing her from my life. Wow. Even though there's plenty of evidence, such as smear campaigns to exes and relationships that I have been in directed at me, even knowing things like that, I still have a hard time. I think it's cultural too, because I come from a Spanish family, and they always say you have to be there for family.
Yeah.
So I've been in hermit mode. I've been working on my healing. I've been just, and thank God no one's really reached out from the family or anything. So I haven't been put in a position where I feel like I need to have them interrupt my time right now.
Oh, goodness. Let me
I was wondering what I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
What you meant when you said polite trauma. Is it trauma that's not so apparent, kind of just lurking underneath the...
Exactly. It's the kind of trauma that becomes normalized, that it may not always include yelling and shouting and overtly hitting people, but it's as damaging, if not more damaging, because it's about the mind games and the environment and the expectations and the obligations, right? But I have to say this before I say anything to you, that I really admire your resilience.
Thank you.
Particularly turning this poison, pain into power, becoming a police officer to help and protect others. But I have to, before I say anything, why are you at a point where you feel the need to cut off your mom?
My mom has used me. I have been looked at as a strong one in the family, so I've been a parent to her when she was struggling with alcoholism.
Oh, yeah.
I've helped her financially for years.
Yep.
She has put me in a position to also help my brothers, 2 of which are older.
Yep.
And this has affected me financially, but it's more so hurtful because they're able to do exactly what I'm doing, and she enables them. I think she keeps them puppeteered so that she has access to them, because none of us have had a successful relationship, and she hasn't remarried or anything since my father passed away from AIDS in 1989, because he was an intravenous drug user. He went to Vietnam, he came back all messed up.
Okay, you want to hear the real story?
Yeah.
Do you see what has happened, or should I tell you? Sorry, I didn't hear you. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. So you come from a long bloodline filled with generational curses specific to dependency and shame.
Yes.
Dependency, so a scarcity mindset and shame. Let me explain. Your grandfather was very likely abused sexually.
Yes.
So what did he do? Trauma is passed on from parent to child. He passed it on to your mother.
Right.
And guess who was supposed to be next in line?
Me.
Yes. But there was something about your spirit from the beginning that let them know they couldn't do that to you. So what did they turn you into? They made you the scapegoat, the garbage recycling receptacle for the family.
Right.
And your job was to give and support at your peril. So you were under spiritual slavery, a spell that's designed to bind you as a slave to the cycle of curses and trauma. Am I making this up?
No, not at all.
So you're just finally waking up to the reality that you've been surrounded by demons and snakes and scorpions, and that your way to deal with it initially was intellectual. Go to the police force, turn powerlessness into power. But now what you're beginning to do is you're becoming an internal police, realizing that if you don't police your internal well-being, you'll be stuck in spiritual jail for the rest of your life like them.
Right.
And spiritual jail is the hell realm, which is where they all live. So they've created trapdoors in your mind that prevent you from moving on from the family, which is why your intimate relationships have suffered. And you are coming to the end of that cycle. Am I just making this up, Jenny?
No, it's 100% accurate.
What are you realizing? Hear me say this to you.
I think a big realization is women in my life, especially women in the police department of authority and positions of authority, have too tried to suppress me and keep me down. So it's like I broke out of policing. I'm breaking out of this, the chains that my family has kept on me for many years, which have affected my personal relationships. And I am feeling empowered. I'm starting to feel liberated, but I still struggle with the guilt of being the one to break free and kind of leave them all behind.
Yeah, it's a survivor's guilt. But I have to tell you, do you know why you had the same struggles in the force as well? Or should I tell you?
Please tell me.
Because the spirit of narcissism is a monitoring spirit. So when you read it from a psychological perspective, there's no therapeutic solution to narcissism. This is how you know it's purely spiritual. Mm. And the way it works is narcissists have to monitor you. They stalk you, they check your phones, they observe you, they're very interested in you. Therefore, they are monitoring spirit, and they embody using monitoring spirits into other narcissistic vessels to watch you. Because the empath has intuition. The empath doesn't have to look to know. But the narcissist has to watch and monitor to know. They have to trigger responses to know, right? They have to manipulate so they can get information. So you have been followed by the spirit of Jezebel for your whole life. And you finally developed the internal fortitude as a spiritual gangster to end it. That's why you're here, Jenny.
Yes.
Oh, I'm even exhausted just hearing your story. No, this is powerful because I'm using my energy, right? I'm transmitting my energy to you. Are you realizing what is happening, Jenny?
Yeah, I can feel it. I feel the heat in my body. I can feel the more that I learn, the more I feel freer.
Let me tell you something. Global said it. My absence allows others to evolve in their own relationships. You don't have to feel guilty for any demon that's trying to kill you. The reason you feel guilty is because you're an empath.
You're right.
The role of these demons was to kill you physically, spiritually, financially, emotionally. Should I keep going? And you're going to feel guilty about that? No, you don't hate them because you're an empath. And for an empath, love is non-negotiable. But love and forgiveness does not mean reconciliation, Jenny.
Right.
And I'll tell you a secret. You're going to mourn leaving them behind because I still mourn the people I've left behind. I mourn. But I celebrate more than I mourn, if you hear what I'm trying to tell you.
Right.
What are you hearing?
It's validation for how I'm feeling. It's empowerment for the decisions that I have to make. My question is, when you were in the process, did you make it like a formal, like, hey guys?
No announcement. No announcements.
You just kind of just drifted off.
No, I didn't kind of drift off. I vanished. You can no longer reach me. Because when I was in your life, you took me for granted. I would call you and check on you. I would send you everything I have. I would love you. And you thought I was just a fool. And when I woke up to the notion that you were not going to reciprocate, I just took it away because I know my value.
Right.
What's the explanation? You know what you did. Explain what to you? You've been doing this for decades, my whole life, and you want me to explain what is already understood? Are you like, what kind of gaslighting is that?
Right.
Jenny!
The mind washing that's done in the training.
Oh my gosh. It's horrible. Because you were supposed to be under this spell for the rest of your life. Don't you see?
Right.
For the rest of your life, Jenny.
Yeah.
So waking up was not on the cards. And when you wake up from your familiar narcissistic abuse, is to wake up to the reality of how the whole world functions. That's why you saw it at work as well.
Right.
You see what I'm saying to you? And I have to tell you, you tried to hide your emotions, but I caught it. You got emotional, but you're so stoic, you hid it well. What are you feeling now?
You're right. I think what got me through my childhood was disassociating. So I have struggled, especially in like romantic relationships, to be vulnerable. I think because I just didn't trust people. Yeah. What I'm feeling right now, I feel good. I feel good. I feel like I am walking through a door and I'm not going to look back.
That's right.
The only challenge that I have is that I have nieces and nephews who I love, and so there'll be a connection so that I can also help them when they're in a place where they're ready to heal and learn about our family.
Don't worry about them. Those who are meant to be in your life will find you.
Okay.
But I tell you what, this is just sharing, and everybody's context is different. Sometimes no contact doesn't work for everyone. Maybe yellow rock or gray rock is better. And if you ever want to talk in more detail, just book a free session. We talk for half an hour on my website, or send me a message and we can talk more if you want, if only you want. But I tell you what, there's a way out of this, and you're almost out of it, because the final battle you're going to have to fight is you versus you after you overcome them, and that's the hardest one. So I understand where you are. You've done incredible work in freeing yourself, because you didn't get here by chance. Because I would conjecture for years you've been trying to tell them, hey guys, what's wrong with this? You know, what's the love? And they didn't listen, because to them, you are a fool. They don't see a kind person. You are someone to be taken advantage of. And when you leave is when they wake up and realize, what have we done? Yeah. What did we just lose? And we're never going to get it back.
Right.
There are people I've left behind who will never see me again, Jenny. Look at me.
Wow.
Look at me.
And that's sad for them.
But this is what it is, right? So you know where to find me, whenever, and come back anytime. And I'm sending you lots of good energy.
Thank you. Lots of love back to you.
Thank you. And keep doing what you've done. You're an inspiration to all of us, just for turning your pain into power, really.
And so are you. I love all that you share.
Thank you, Jenny. I appreciate you. I will see you around. Sending you peace and love wherever you are, yes?
Same to you.
Yeah, man. This is what it is. You see, this is the information. You see, this is what happens. This is how we get trapped in these spells. These people just want to trap us in these spells so we don't wake up. Do you want to keep staying in those spells? No. So remember, as you go about dealing with these demons and as you free yourself. Thank you, Ellie. Thank you, Global. Thank you, Carolina. Thank you, everyone. Remember this song from Soul. Fear no one. Fear no one. We have the blessing to ourselves. That's right, Global. Fear no one, including yourself. Don't be afraid of yourself. Don't be afraid of your higher self. Develop a relationship with your higher self. And your higher self is based on what you tell yourself. Because what you tell yourself is the truth, Jenny. This is it. So this is it. I'm just going to do a slow roll for you. This is how you deal with fear when you see me. This is how you deal with fear. You've already won. You've already won. You get the message? Did the message land? Did I do my job today? Did I do my divine duty? Fear no one. Fear no one. Don't even fear yourself, your higher self. One love, people. One love. See you on Friday. Sending you peace and happiness. One love. Yeah. Yeah.